Welcome to the Arts and Change, hosted by the University of Rochester's Institute for the Performing Arts in partnership with the Office of Equity and Inclusion, the Paul J. Burgett Intercultural Center, 540 West Main Inc., Create a Space Now, Eastman Institute for Music Leadership, and the Rochester Fringe Festival. My name is Jessica Guzman Ray. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm your conference host for this session with Missy Pfohl Smith and Frayda Lieber. Um, and we would like to acknowledge with respect the Seneca Nation, known as the Great Hill People and keepers of the Western Door of Haudenosaunee Confederacy. We take this opportunity to thank the original caretakers on whose ancestral lands the University of Rochester currently resides here in Rochester, New York. As we come together, we want to acknowledge the need for a commitment to constant action and attention surrounding the systematic issues that continue to impact each of us to this day. The presenter has shared that sensitive content in today's session will include discussion of trauma-informed practices and will mention substance use orders. In order to enable live transcription in your Zoom view, please click the arrow to the right of the live transcript box to view. That box can be dragged to another location on your screen. We are recording today's session, so please note your spoken, written comments and image may be included as well as in the transcription. In order to protect your privacy, we invite you to rename your Zoom profile with your first name only and your pronouns if you feel comfortable. Breakout rooms will not be recorded. Because we have back-to-back sessions scheduled, the session will end promptly at its end time. We encourage presenters and/or participants to share contact information via chat to foster continued discussion and connection where desired. For our social media users, please feel free to use the hashtag ArtsChange25 if you feel inspired by something you hear or experience today. Thank you for joining us, and now I'm honored to welcome Missy and Frayda, who are presenting Hats We Wear, Dance with Women in Transitional Housing.
Thanks so much, Jessica, and thanks everybody for coming. We're going to start by first just feeling our feet on the floor and just taking a breath together. And just having a sense of groundedness as we start and share this 50 minutes with us, 49 at this point. Frayda and I are going to introduce ourselves, but before we do that, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what's going to happen today. We're going to talk just a little bit about how we're using trauma-informed practices in our work. We're going to create some community agreements together, which is part of that trauma-informed practice. We're going to share some practical examples from a class we've designed with our partners. And we will do a little bit of movement, just a little bit, and we will go into breakout rooms, and we'll finish with some time for discussion and feedback. But first, we're going to just say hello. So Frayda, would you like to go first?
Absolutely. My name's Frayda. I am a senior at University of Rochester. I'm a dance minor, but I'm majoring in psychology. I was in Missy's dance in the interdependent community class last spring. And it was a really pivotal experience for me, especially working with this transitional house for women in Rochester. And this is a class that Missy and I developed during that time, inspired by the content of the course. And really, after meeting so many of that women, this was really dedicated and cut for them. So glad you guys are here.
Awesome. So my name's Missy, as you know, and I direct the program of dance and movement here at the University of Rochester, and I started this community engaged course, Dance and Interdependent Community, 4 years ago. And it is, I'm also a PhD student, and I'm about to enter my dissertation proposal and dissertation research, which will be actually on this work with dance and women with trauma histories. And so this is pretty important work to me. So I guess I'll leave it there for now. So I'm going to start first by saying, well, actually, Frayda, do you want to talk just a little bit about who our partner is? I mean, not specifically, but just in general, who they
course.
are. Yeah.
Definitely. So, in this class, we worked with two groups, one of which was this transitional home for women. It focuses on rehabilitative care after some have struggled with, you know, uh, drug use, addiction disorders, and many of which who have been previously incarcerated. Um, this work is intended to, be done by a group, and really is a trauma-informed process, like Missy's going to talk about a little bit. Um, but we are, acknowledging that we're all coming from different places, and have different histories, and we bring that all together to welcome that into the space as well.
Yeah, so we're thinking that this work is a support to the recovery process and recovery in a lot of different ways. And so that's the framework with which we approach how we design our dance sessions with them, how we design our interactions, etc. So first, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the trauma-informed processes that we use. I'm not going to go deeply into it because we have a short amount of time, and we do want to actually practice some of the work with you. So some of this work is drawn from the research of Trish Shelka. She's at the Warner School at the University of Rochester. So I just want to give her some credit for that. So you may realize that trauma can be caused by an event, but it also can be caused by an ongoing condition or situation, right? Such as racism or something like that. And so there was something that Alexia Jones yesterday in her session for Arts Plus Change said that was really moving to me. She said, if trauma is caused by one, terrible event, then why can't healing be helped by one amazing, joyful event, right? And so I felt like, yes, exactly. Anyway, so um, some of the things, so first of all, we never know who's experiencing trauma currently or who have that in their past. So it's great to use these practices really with any group, students, etc., community members. So we start with a mindfulness practice or just a grounding practice or breath, just the way we did today. I know that was simple, but we'll do another one when we get started. Giving an overview of what they're going to experience while you're together. That can also reduce discomfort or anxiety about a new situation. Deciding on some ground rules, like how you participate, giving options for people to participate in whatever way works for them. And reminding them that witnessing is a beautiful way to participate, right? So that doesn't feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing or that sort of thing. And also, especially if you're working with people over time, establishing a ritual or something that is repeated, perhaps to begin or end the class, so that there's a sense of comfort and knowing what to expect. That can help too. And then also just asking, are there other things that we need to establish here that to make sure everyone feels supported, So there are some warning signs, like if people are really withdrawing from what's happening, or if people are really activated and energized and like kind of over the top, that can be a warning sign that they're kind of beyond their comfort level in a way that maybe is not so great, not so healthy for them. And so that can be a sign to, again, give some more options, to pull back a little bit, to redirect, do another grounding practice, that kind of thing. Yeah. For us, we're lucky because we're in the transitional home, there's always a staff member present. So if nothing has happened, that's been concerning at this point, but we know that that's a possibility, and we know we have support, so that's also helpful. I know not everyone has that luxury, but so we're going to start by modeling some of the ways we establish some community agreements, which also helps to build some trust. And I'm going to let Frayda do that for you.
Yeah, so at the beginning of every one of our sessions, we would make some community agreements. We would co-construct basically a couple of principles that kind of dictate the norms of the room. One of my favorites, and we can all share them in the chat once we brainstorm a little bit. One of my favorites was all emotions are invited. So whatever this brings up for you, whatever this reminds you of, whatever this is evoking in yourself is welcome in the space. So think of a couple of things that you would love to be a core principle of this session, and feel free to go ahead and drop that in the chat. Yes, you are the expert of your own experience. Thank you, Missy. That's another great one. One of them that I always appreciate is confidentiality. What's learned here, and what's shared here stays here. So this is I know the term safe space can be overused, but this is somewhere where everything's invited and everything also stays here.
AKA Vegas rules. That's right.
Vegas rules, yeah. Have fun. Yes, thank you, Missy. I think that often sometimes these lessons take on a certain weight, but it's important that we also channel joy. Absolutely. Making mistakes is encouraged. Thank you, Donna. Yes.
For sure.
One diva rule.
Nice.
One
Yeah.
person at a time. Open mind, of course.
What I love about the making mistakes is encouraged is that one of the things we talk about in the class when we're preparing students to go and work with a new community is that we talk about how it's a two-way street and it's not us going to help them, right? But it's all of us in the room together and we're all learning. And so like we're going to be making mistakes too. So we acknowledge that and we're like, please, embrace our mistakes too, and we're all here learning, right? So I'll just add to the mistake one. We are all learners. And so when we're in the room with people, we do this on a piece of paper. It's really low key. This is, low tech. And I'll have a bunch of post-it notes. And then the reason I like this one is because then I just fold it and I stick it in my folder and I bring it back every week. And so we can just open it up. If we have a new person, we'll go over them again. But even if we don't have a new person, we just leave it there and we just remind people if there's anything you want to add, or if there's something you don't want to agree to today and you want to take that off the list for today, that's always there and welcome. So that's just a practice that we do. And you can visually see how people will relax a little bit during this process. They're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have the opportunity to pass. I don't actually have to do everything they asked me to do and that sort of thing. So it tends to be helpful.
Absolutely. So feel free to keep adding those for the entire session, but I'm gonna move on to talk a little bit about what are we doing here? Hats We Wear is the title that Missy and I came up with. That is just a snippet of really what we're trying to get at. So, talking a little bit about what this means. The way think about it is as multifaceted people, we go through life embodying so many different aspects of ourselves at every moment. This is what makes us adaptive and complex creatures. We put on different hats to help us cope with adverse experiences and thrive in the face of challenge. We developed this class to invite participants to make choices and express different facets and faces of their identity. So hats become really like a metaphor for those different identities. In person, we brought a variety of different hats. There was fedoras and caps and little newsy hats and like sombreros. But for the purpose of this lovely online format, we're going to construct our hats with our imagination, um, and go on from there. I brought this hat. because partially because it matched my outfit, but because it's the but we had a bunch of different hats going on. So, John, I see you came prepared. Thank you so much. But for the purpose of this, we're going to use our imagination. So what might be some of the hats that were brought up in this session? There are a couple of examples. For me, it could be like my student hat, my dancer hat, my activist hat, my Gen Z hat. It can even take on the form of I'm wearing my frustrated hat at times. Um, Personally, mom hat, of course. That's how I feel in my sorority. Um, I often take on my thrill seeker hat, traveler hat, all of the above. Um, and sometimes it's easier to say some hats than others. In our sessions, when we asked the group, some more vulnerable hats came up, like the junkie hat was shared. Um, the recovery hat came up a couple of times. The lover hat. And we want to acknowledge that it's okay, even if it's difficult to share these sides of ourselves. And that's really, yeah, that's the work that we're doing here.
Yeah, so we
So
invite you to put a hat or two in the chat, if you will. A hat that you might have worn this past week or even today. Some of us wear 15 hats in an hour. Yeah,
great. Yes, snow shoveler hat, of course. I think everybody in Rochester can relate to that one. Great. So as these keep coming in, this is a great warm up, and there's gonna be so many more opportunities to dive into the many, many hats we wear. Um, yes, these are all absolutely wonderful. So without further ado,
Mhm.
we can start our session.
We have started our session.
I guess sometimes I get so used to doing body scans at the beginning of
That's
all of
right.
our sessions. It feels like the true commencement, you know.
That's right. Okay, so before we really get into the all of the hats, we are going to just do a little warm up together. So for perhaps first we just warm up our hands. It's a little bit cold in my house this morning. And with that warming up of the hands, we're going to get a really cozy, maybe hand knit, soft, fleecy kind of hat and put that on our heads and maybe give ourselves a little bit of tapping, adjusting of the hat, a little bit of touch to the head, a little tactile sensation with our nice warm hat. Nice. And maybe even you put a nice warm scarf on as well. So just give ourselves a little hug, little squeeze, a little bit of warmth. Yeah. And then maybe we take our hands to our chest and you can close your eyes if you like, or you can keep them open. I'm happy to close my eyes and not look at the screen for a moment. And just notice that breath that you have. You might even notice the rhythm of your heart. You might notice how the rhythm of your breath is not always even, not always the same. And I also invite you to start to sway a little bit from side to side so that your spine becomes mobile. And again, you can keep your eyes open or closed. You can also sway forward and back, have a little bit of an undulation through the spine. Yeah. And then from that center, you can maybe open your eyes at this point. From that center, allow your arms to widen out. And inhale, and as you exhale, we'll bring our hands to our belly. Not that you can see that on the screen. You bring our hands to your belly. And then feel 2 feet on the floor. You might even push into your feet a little bit. So you have that sense of support from the ground. Gravity is always there for us, no matter what. And then from that center place with hands on the belly, or allow those hands to grow out and up, just stretching up to the sky a little bit. And allow your arms to drop down and the shoulders to drop down. Your hands might rest on your lap and you can circle the shoulders. You might even look from to the right and the left. Give yourself a little bit of a twist. You might sigh or yawn, or just give yourself a stretch as if you're waking up in the morning. Whatever your body feels like it needs at this moment. And one more time, we'll give ourselves a little bit of a bigger hug this time instead of just the shoulders. And allow your spine to curve forward. Drop your chin. And then open out and let your arms circle around and down. Nice. All right, great. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you if you would like to turn on your screen, that would be great, or on your camera, and you don't have to. But if you would like, if you would choose one of the hats that's in the chat, it doesn't have to be yours. It could be yours, could be someone else's. And we're going to ask you to imagine that you have that hat on, and what would you be doing if you had that hat on? Like, what would the action look like, right? So you could make either a shape or you could make a little movement that goes with what that hat is. So for example, if I chose activist hat, maybe I would have my what do you call that? My placard and I might be marching or something like that, right? So that would be my activist hat. Ah, shout out my whatever it is that I'm standing up for, right? I might even stand up out of my chair. So if you could choose one, and even if we can't see you, maybe you just imagine or you do what you might be doing in that hat. And the way we'll share this, if you're willing, is we'll just pass it around. So I will choose one. I don't have to necessarily say it. I might just do it. And maybe we would witness. And part of what the other thing that we're doing with these women is we're giving them a chance to be seen, right? And also a chance for them to have a little bit of expression, either through their bodies or through their sharing verbally. And so but for this exercise, you're going to choose a hat. You're going to embody the hat in some way, not necessarily the hat, but the role that the hat embraces. And then we will either put in the chat or turn on our voices here and just give some response to it. So, oh, that looks strong, or that looks like you're a professional typist or something, or whatever it is. Like, we're just going to give some voice to what we're seeing. Make sense? Okay. So, Frayda, do you mind if you begin? So once I'm going to pass it to Frayda, and if you decide you don't want to do this, you can go like that. That's the pass. Nope, I don't want to do that. That's the pass. I just do that. And then if you'd like, you can either pass it to someone else, or the person who just passed it to you will choose someone else.
Okay. Okay.
So we can either verbalize or we can put it in the chat.
I'm going out with friends and I have to look good hat.
Yeah. Putting on makeup, prepping for an important day hat, self-care hat. Yeah.
Self-care hat was definitely the hat that I tend to opt to wear quite a bit.
Yeah. Great. Who do you want to pass it to?
Can I pass to Donna?
Settling down hat. Yogi hat. Nice. Mellow hat. Meditation hat. Grounded hat. Yoga hat. Yeah. Centering hat. I have been sitting too long in this chair hat. That's right. Awesome. Thanks, Donna. Winding down hat. Donna, would you like to pass it to someone?
Sure, I pass it to Emma.
Student hat. Bookworm hat.
A dutiful student hat.
Yeah. Studying hat. Reading hard hat. Atomic Habits hat. I love that book. Leisure hat. Nice. Great. Emma, would you like to pass it to someone?
Yes, may I please pass it to Miss Stella?
Great. So your responses are I need my reading glasses hat, serious hat, busy hat, investigation hat. Where did I put that thing again? Hat, funny hat. That's great. Distracted hat. Hats are glasses. It's great. Stella, would you like to pass it to someone?
I muted myself, sorry.
That's okay.
Jessica, please.
Hydrate hat.
That's right. Mhm. Mm.
I I was feeling the long day hat that needed a lot of hydration.
Exactly. Right.
Thank you for that. Keep commenting. I'll pass it to Jean.
Burnout hat. Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, overworked hat. Schlumped hat. Dealing with a lot. Also long day. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Workaholic hat, right? I don't know how to spell that. Aholic. There we go.
Well, I have never thought of myself as an actress, but I must say you are very perceptive hat identifiers. That's what I have to say.
That's great. Yeah. So there is something about having someone else put words to how you're feeling, right? That can be supportive. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Great. What's next, Frayda? Oh, we
You're
can't hear you, my dear.
So sorry. So this activity took on many forms. Um, we we want to invite it's easy to access some of these hats more than others. And we also acknowledge that sometimes it's hard to um, put into a group exactly the types of hats that we want to be want to express. So um, we want to invite everyone to essentially direct message me or Missy, and we can put them into the chat for hats that feel like you might not want to come directly from you. Um, and that can be more difficult to share with a group. So um, if you like, you can direct
Or you can
message.
just, yeah, or you can just stick it in the chat if you like. But you can direct message to keep things.
So what we're gonna do is take we'll send back all of the messages that we've gotten in a bigger list and go into breakout rooms. And you can choose a hat while in this breakout room that is not necessarily your own, but you can create a small move-in or a small dance that is related to the hat that you chose. And ideally, you would share it with this group, and then they would reflect back verbally what they witnessed. So very similar to the activity we just did. What
So
would you guys?
I'm going to create the breakout rooms, and there's a choice that says let participants choose a room. And in the spirit of agency, I'm going to try that. I've never actually tried that. I don't know if it will work. You might all choose the same room. We'll see. But let's see what happens if we do that. So you get to choose 1, 2, or 3. Thank you, Donna, for coming. I know you have to leave early. Thanks so much.
Do we know which room is correlated with which hat?
Oh, right. So we're gonna put, I think you still will have access to the chat. So we're gonna put all of the options in the chat, and then you'll be able to choose. Um, so poor Jean has already left. Maybe I'll go in and tell her what's happening. But you'll go into the room, and once you go in, how do I get her out of there? Let's see. Oh yeah.
You gotta close the breakout
No,
rooms.
I just put her back into here. Here we
Oh,
go.
perfect.
Okay. Sorry, Jean. We didn't finish our. Where is she? Where'd she go? There you are. Sorry, we prematurely invited you to leave because we didn't tell you what's happening. So we're going to put a bunch of the either ones people have shared or just some other options into the chat. And with your group, you're going to choose what one that you would like to embody, and then you're also going to you'll share it with your group. You'll maybe do the process we just did, but in a smaller group. Hopefully there will be 1 or 2 people in there with you. And then you're going to choose a hat, and maybe you'll talk about this together, but each of you will choose a hat that you would like to wear more of. So a hat that would be something that would be nice to have more time embodying, right? Nice to have more time in. So the process is you're going to share a hat that you've chosen from the list. You're going to talk about that. And then each of you will talk about one you'd like to wear more of. Yeah. Okay. So you can join the rooms, and then we will put in the chat for you all. I'm pretty sure you can all see the chats, the list. Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to invite everyone or you as a group to do a little bit of a share out. I'm not sure what happened there were 3 rooms or 2? I thought there were 2, but I think there were 3. Yeah, great. So would anyone like to share sort of what you talked about, or not exactly what you talked about, but like what your process was? And if there's any movement you'd like to share with the group?
I can share.
We can go. We can go. Yeah, we can go. Okay, so we were just talking about how it's really important. We actually went off of Frieda's idea of like self-care, and we talked a little bit about like gratitude. And so this was our movement a little bit.
Nice. That's great.
We were trying to create a little bit of contract. So at the start, we were this person is very busy, and then in that moment, the person remembers
Right.
that they can create time. They should create time themselves. So this is Emma's idea. Take a deep breath in.
That's right. That's great.
Slow down.
That's all.
I had, oh, I'm sorry. I had the gift of being in the space with Frayda and Erm, who did an audio kind of depiction of movement, which was so lovely for us. Um, it was just, I think all of our movements were just grand. And then Frayda at the end was like, does this feel like this encompasses like, and I was like, yeah, that's like all three of our movements in one of just this caring, controlled space that could be grand or could be spontaneous and free, or self-caring. So I just thought that was really, really nice and special.
Awesome. Jean or Kat, do you want to share at all? It's to you.
Missy talked about a finding ease hat of like finding a way to like kind of be okay with all of the wildness that is happening, but I can't remember what movement you associated with it.
I think you were going to make the move.
That's why I was like,
yeah,
what am I?
We decided in our group after, because we were having a really interesting conversation, and then we decided that maybe we'll make a movement for not the one we wanted that we talked about, but one that someone else talked about. So my movement for Jean's was that.
Finding ease is like this because it's like riding the waves of whatever comes your way.
There we go.
Love that. And I got to wear Kat's creative hat. So to me, that would be about inspiration and excitement.
Nice.
You are definitely a theater person, Jean.
That's right. That's right. Well, we are almost out of time. So thank you so much. If you have questions or feedback or whatever, we're happy to have it. This is an ongoing practice and process for us, and it was fun to share some time with you all today.
If you want to leave a parting message, any feedback or anything in particular, especially like maybe a hat that you want to wear more often, feel free to drop it in the chat. I know that sometimes these takeaways can be a little all over the place, especially this quickly, but if anything came up for you, we would love to know. So thank you everybody so much for coming. And what is the hat that you feel like you can channel most in the near future?